Hi everyone, welcome back to my page. This is Marcy at Prints and Paints. Today we're going to do something a little bit different. We're going to do a product review. I have been sent a lovely package of some wonderful dotting tools that I want to show you how to use them and if they measure up to others, and just my it's going to be my unbiased point of view on this. This is not a paid promotion. I'm not being sponsored. This is just really my personal opinion on what types of dotting tools are out there. So without further ado, we're going to practice on this template as well, and I'll get into that in a few. But I have here a set of Marks Mandalas. They are the 24-piece set dotting tools, and Mark was kind enough to send me these to check out, to try out. So thank you, Mark, and I hope this goes well. So let's take these out of the package. I was going to compare these to other dotting tools, but I felt like that was not really a fair chance for other companies. So I'm just going to state that I used a different generic dotting tool, which were these. And I've been using them for almost 2 years now. So I felt it was time that I should try out other types of tools and see which ones I like best. And, expand on that. I also have used these small, I think these are called nail stylists. You use these for decorating your nails. But a lot of people in the community do use these for doing your dots, especially walking your dots, because you have that nice ball tip to them. So there's those, and then like I said, I use these kinds of dotting tools as well. They're a more solid base to them, and they come in a large pack. I forget how many there are, about maybe 26 of them. Anyway, so first look at these. I have to say that I really love the lightweight of these tools. Man, oh man, they are incredibly light. Versus other tools that I've used, there's a lot of weight to these, and even so these, because they have metal in them. So that is a bonus when you are painting for long periods of time. Something I've got to notice right off the bat, that they are extremely lightweight. Fantastic, really. That'll help on the wrist. It'll help with, even so, more precision too. You're not having this heavy thing on, weighing down on your hand. So there's a few things in the package. So you have marksmandalas.com. This is his website that you can reach him at. And then on the back, it just has some simple benefits to using the tools. They are ultra lightweight. They are ergonomic grip. So even so, this is the first tool that I've used that has this nice grip to it, as you can see, which is really nice. Most of the other tools that I've ever used are nice and smooth. There's no grip to it. So that's pretty nice too, I have to say. And there's a nice smooth graduation of dottings, of dots. So let's see how they add up, okay? It also has lessons that you can do, and he has all sorts of patterns, download lesson sheets available for you. This is all for free at marksmandalas.com. So please check them out and, maybe invest in some tools. So like I said, I'm using the 24 size dotting tools. Mark also has a 16 size dotting tool, okay, which are a little bit smaller, and I know they're probably the most affordable dotting tools on the market at this time, minus the exception of these small nail stylists. These only run you about maybe $8 in a pack. But if you're looking at to, jump up from there and actually get some nice dotting tools, these kinds of tools, there's about 4 different companies that I know of, and Marks seems to be the most affordable at this time. So check it out. I'll put the links in the description. You can go from there and see if it's your liking. He also has this in his package. So this is a cute little, it's kind of like a prerequisite to beginning your dotting. I think it's great. So these are lessons. So it's basically going to tell you how to clean your dotting tools, what not to use, what kind of paints you should be using, all of that. So it's a good informative card. And then from here, you have your lessons, which is really, really great. I think you probably would start... You probably want to maybe start, I mean, most people start at the bullseye, so I'm not sure how these go. There is a video tutorial lesson on his website as well, so if you want to follow that. But they do. So lesson 6 is kind of the last number, but I'm not sure how that works. But you would do that, and then it tells you exactly what number dotting tool to use. Okay. And you go up from there. So you actually have a nice little lesson ready to go when you purchase these, which is such a wonderful idea. I love it. It's super cute. And then it also tells you the paints you can use, the colors, and what colors to use on there. That's fantastic. There's a quick start guide, and there's also more tips for using them. So if you notice in this package alone, you're going to have size all the way up to size 20. All right. And then you're also going to find somewhere in here, there's these 4 sizes here. They have letters on them. There's A, B, C, and D. Now these, with close inspection, you can notice that they are more rounded at the tips. Okay, so these kind of mimic these, which is really cool because now you're not flipping back and forth with trying to figure out what sizes to grab, right? I love these, and I probably will still maybe continue to use these for certain things. I do know that when you use these metal, you have to be careful with painting with metallic paints because the oxidation that happens between the metal on metal usually will turn your metallics very dark. It's something that I've noticed over the past few years of painting and doing some research, and so that may be a downfall to using those ball tip stylus. So these are fantastic that they are included. These are also meant to use for walking the dots. So walking the dots, obviously, if we remember, is when we do one center dot and then we taper down, right? That's what's called walking the dots. So these are fantastic tools, and there's only 4 sizes, so you're not overwhelmed with, oh gosh, what size do I need to use? What size is this? So that's an added bonus. That's really fantastic. And then so after that, you have 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 18, 20. Okay, so 20. And what I did do before filming this was I actually downloaded a sheet that tells me what sizes are close to a millimeter. And I have to say, so I got to cover up some of this because it has other people's information on it. But the top here is Marks Mandalas. Okay, so as you can see, I started at number 1 and I worked my way up to the 20. Now, these are pretty close. I mean, dead on. I think even number 18 is exactly 18 where it should be as a millimeter. I think 20 is a little bit smaller. I believe the size should be at a 22 maybe for the actual millimeter size. But all in all, you're closer to about an inch in diameter for some of these. And then you go down to pretty small. I mean, number 1 is very, very tiny. Super tiny. So, yeah, so number 1 is barely there. And that's nice, too, when you want to have those really small details. So that's really amazing. So I have a lot of pros for these. I really do. I think today we are going to touch base on painting with them on these. And then, we'll get an opinion on afterwards. I also wanted to throw in real quick that I've noticed that these, if you did want to use the letters for just the size, I found that some of these, like A, can fit in between like 2 and 3 to make it an extra size. Because there are some on the market that are like overwhelming. Let me quickly show you without showing you the name of the product. Okay, so for example, this is another set of dotting tools that I do use. And you could see all the sizes. There are even some over here. There's one more right here. And there's a lot of sizes. There really is. And that's great if you really are advanced and you know what you're doing. But if you're just starting out, this could be extremely overwhelming because even though there's a beautiful gradient of sizes to this, there's too many, if that makes sense. And like I said, if you're starting out, this is a fantastic step in the right direction. And so, I would probably flip-flop and back and forth between some of these if I really wanted to get a nice size that I'm looking for in particular. These sizes, I did try to measure up to the millimeter chart, and they were completely off. So they literally just go by the number on the tool, and that's it. Whereas his are pretty close, I have to say. They're very close to millimeters. So that's a good thing to keep in mind too if you're trying to stick with a certain size. The reason I say this is because sometimes when I'm doing my my designs, especially my large mandalas, I do pre-plan some things and I have to figure out if I'm going to have enough circles for one particular area. And so what I would do is I would get this architectural see-through ruler right here, and this basically tells me the inch size, and then it can also tell me excuse me, it can also, and then I can also base it off of like 3/4 of an inch is also 19 millimeters. Okay, I have a conversion chart that I've used. I also have this one available too, which is the same kind of concept. This one's a little bit more advanced. So this is a combo circle master, and it also tells me the millimeter size here. It is in a decimal format, so I actually have to understand and know what size that's going to be. But like I said, this is a fantastic thing to, work with. If you're looking to just have fun, then don't worry about it. But I have to say that Marks Mandala tools are really fantastic. They really are. There's one con, and that's that when you do paint with them, they do kind of stain the dotting tool. This was my first attempt using them, and they have been stained. I don't know how I can get that stain off because I am a neat freak, and I do love to clean my tools every single time I use them. And it still kind of got them stained in a lot of areas. It could be the type of plastic because it's so lightweight, it's absorbing things, and it's not a deal breaker for me because it's not clops of paint, it's just stained. So who cares, right? It's okay. I mean, some of these dotting tools that I've used in the past, this paint doesn't even come off anymore. It's so incredibly beat up. So it's, it's a preference on how you want clean your dotting tools to look and whatnot. So I'm sure there's a way of cleaning them. He does say that you don't want to use an acetone on them because it will probably melt them down. So remember that. But in the meantime, we're going to paint something real quick. Okay, we're going to do a time lapse and come back and talk about it. I have these really cool templates available. You can also go to his website if you like. So these will be available on my Etsy. I have them in a 3-pack format. So they're all geometric 3D designs. So I have a coneflower. I have this serpent-like type of, stencil. And then I also have the spiral that I have just done. So I have these in a 3-pack. Right now they're only available for downloading, but I've been thinking about putting them up for sale for a fair price and selling them like this to you. You will get this in the mail. You could practice on it, whatever you'd like to do. Most of them I have available just to download, and then you can pop them on your their SVG files, and you can pop them on your Cricut, and then you can cut them out or do whatever you like. So for today, though, we're going to do the coneflower, and we'll meet you back here, and let's go. Okay guys, so we finished our coneflower design with our Marks Mandalas dotting tools. And I have to say, I really do love, especially, I think one of my favorite things are these letters. The rounded tip that mimic these, the ball tip stylist. These are great, and I do love them still, but this is fabulous to have this included with your dotting tools and that they're all together. I mean, look at the precision that, if you can see it, the precision that this had made is really amazing. I've never, even doing, dots with these, sometimes they don't have a nice tapered towards the end. They start to get a little skewed. Even so, using one of these small ones of these, they definitely get like a half a circle chopped. And for some reason, these hold a nice amount of paint on them to where you really get a nice cohesive dot. Like the walking dot is like close to perfect. I really do like it. Again, you can get these available on my Etsy if you want to, whether they're physical or downloadable. And then, definitely do your research and check them out. I think that they're really affordable and really great, and you can't go wrong with these. They're definitely great for a beginner, and I don't know, they're just all around really good. So thanks, Mark, and be sure to check out his products, and we'll see you next time with another tutorial from Prints and Paints of Marcy. We'll see you soon, guys. Happy dotting.